Hello, everyone. I am Claudia Taylor with the UNT Alumni Association, and welcome to UNT Alumni Live. Today, we are thrilled to be with Dr. Daniel Cook, Director of the Green Brigade, and Nick Rico Jr., a UNT alumnus and former Green Brigade member, to talk about the marching band's exciting new alumni efforts, reminisce about some memorable Green Brigade moments, and unveil the brand new uniforms the Green Brigade will be wearing starting this fall, made possible by a generous donation from the Westheimer Foundation. Before we dive in, we have a few reminders for you. If you're joining us on Zoom, please keep an eye on that chat section at the bottom of your screen. I'll be posting some useful links there, and you can also use that to send me your questions about the Green Brigade. I'll also post a link to a survey there. As always, fill that out and you'll be entered to win a UNT prize pack. If you're watching us on Facebook, hello. You can also leave us your questions in the comment section there, and we'll get to as many as we can. Now, before I hand the program over to my colleague, Casey Kameninski, let me tell you a bit about our guests today, Daniel Cook and Nick Rico Jr. Daniel Cook has been at UNT since 2019, serving as Director of Athletic Bands, Lecturer in Wind Studies, and Conductor of the Wind Ensemble. In addition to his work as a faculty member and Director of the Green Brigade at UNT, he is the resident conductor for the Dallas Brass Band and an ensemble specialist for the Santa Clara Vanguard. He has a bachelor's degree in music education from the University of Georgia and a master's and doctorate degree in conducting from Northwestern University. Nick Rico Jr. graduated from North Texas College of Music in 1977 with a degree in music education and lovingly participated in the marching band for 4 years. Since leaving UNT, he has served as an insurance brokerage and insurance company executive. Nick built a recording studio above his garage where he spends his spare time recording, mixing, and mastering for the local music scene, which is awesome. He formerly served on the UNT College of Music Advancement Board and has previously served as chair of the Green Brigade alumni reunions. Nick's love of UNT is generational. His father was a 1961 alumnus and was an ardent supporter of the UNT College of Business, the Ryan College of Business, and the Mayborn Graduate Institute of Journalism. Daniel and Nick, thank you for being here with us today. And Casey.
Thank you. It's great to be here, and great to see you, Nick. So happy you're here.
Yes, thank you all for joining us. So, Professor Cook, or should I say Dr. Cook?
Indeed, yes.
Thank you so much for being here. You just received your doctorate degree, so congratulations
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Big sigh of relief now, right?
Right onto Green Brigade projects.
Right, exactly. Never a dull moment as a band director. So, you know, there's so much to relish here and to talk about and to take in.
That's right.
So, I tell you what, let's just get started and jump in and take a look at some of the uniforms from the past. And you can give us some history on these uniforms and tell us about some of the details in the design and what we're looking at. And if anybody from the audience has any questions about these uniforms, please feel free to just type them in the chat or on the chat feature, or I'm sorry, in the comments section on Facebook. So, and they will get those comments and questions over to us and we can discuss those live here. So where should we start? I think I know which one's the oldest, but is it this guy behind you?
Yeah, so we'll go a little bit out of order, I think, of these guys. And Sam, I don't know if you're able to zoom in on these guys or not, but I figured to start out before we get to our uniform reveal, which is over here, but you can't see that yet. We'll take a trip down memory lane. And I know Nick has a special association with this right here. So I'm going to move my stool. The first uniform that we'll look at had its roots way back when North Texas was still North Texas State Normal College, even before it was, North Texas, let's see if I get it right, State Teachers College before that. This uniform dates back all the way, not this particular one, but this design, this model goes back all the way to 1949 and continued in 2 or 3 different iterations until about, Nick, it was 1975, right? That's when the flying worm generation started.
That's when we replaced that uniform in 75, yes.
Yeah. So what's interesting about this one, you'll see it's very traditional in its makeup with the fringed epaulets and everything. But the interesting thing to note about the marching band uniforms in this time was that the band, it was all one thing. It wasn't a concert band and a marching band. It was all one thing. And the individuals that wore this uniform played in the marching band as well as the concert band. So as a result of that, we actually don't have the complete uniform. What we have is a piece that goes over top because Maurice McAdoo, the director of bands, had the policy of no sit, no play, meaning that you can't play in the concert band without playing in the marching band. So this actual uniform, Nick can tell us a little bit more about the design of it, but this actually unzips I don't know if we want to make him,
Yeah.
naked or anything, but underneath here would be your blazer, and maybe even for a few years there, they had a tie that would go under this so that you could play this in concert band and marching band formation. And otherwise, of course, you see the North Texas State logo, and on the epaulets here, you see North Texas State written. So I don't know, Nick, I mean, we'll get to your memories soon, but you used to tell us that there were a blazer that you wore underneath this. Do you have any particular memories surrounding this uniform itself?
Actually, I do. In fact, let me show you. Here's the, everyone wanted to see the flying worm.
Yeah.
Can you see it on my screen?
Yeah, we can see it. It looks great.
Okay, good. Yeah, there's the older one. And see, there's a green blazer underneath it.
Mm-hmm.
And then during concert band season, we wore the same uniform and we just didn't put on the overlay.
That's fascinating. That is really fascinating. And for those of you that aren't quite indoctrinated into the band and music world and lifestyle, nowadays students can choose whether or not they want to march or be in the concert band, but to have the no sit, no play rule is really interesting because you had to do both. You had to be versatile in all of these different genres. So that's really fascinating. When did that rule end, or?
Well, it's still the case that most of our music education majors play in the marching band as well as the concert bands.
Okay.
So, and the reality, of course, if you're going to teach music and be a band director, is that you have to be good at both. You have to understand the marching band genre as well as the concert band genre. But the idea of the marching band uniform being the concert band uniform started to dissolve in the late 70s and 80s across the nation as more and more groups took the, I guess, more symphonic approach, wearing your tuxes and dresses and such rather than this. So this particular uniform was retired in '75, and we went over to the flying worm, which Nick Rico just showed us a little bit ago. And there was actually a period of departure after that we don't have this uniform. This was after Dr. Winslow left and Dennis Fisher took over the marching band, where they departed actually from green entirely. Nick, do you remember this? They had these puffy sleeves with a red and gold uniform with a bow tie for a little bit. It was short-lived, but that was the intermediary between this, the flying worm, and maybe we'll visit our next uniform, which is this one over here. So this was, let's see if I get my dates right. This one was debuted in 1994. This was, I believe, Dennis Fisher's one of his first uniforms. And you can see that the style drastically changed from the North Texas logoing and branding and modeling to this sort of chevron shape right here that's still militaristic. It's kind of interesting. I don't know if you can see the pant leg, but the pant leg has sort of a tuxedo stripe on it. See if I don't know if I can hold it up. I know she's trying to mess with the camera. That's okay if you can't. But we've got, there we go. So you see the sort of tuxedo stripe that goes with this. And this uniform lasted another decade or so.
So I'm curious, the timeline of this. You had mentioned there had been a couple of iterations of the first uniform we looked at, and it sounds like that spanned over about a 20-year, 30-year period.
Well, this one, let me think about it. It would have been 1949 all the way to 1975 in its various iterations.
Wow.
So this, and it wasn't one order. I mean, God forbid we've got one uniform
That's
for
where
25
was
years.
going.
That would be pretty. Now, don't get me wrong; they get pretty smelly after
Right.
only a couple of years. That's why we need to replace the uniforms.
Absolutely.
But this brand lasted about 26 years, and then we had a period of 8 to 10 years per design after that.
I'd like to point out, I know it may not be very clear on the screen, but the greens that we have in this original uniform are very similar to the next generation uniform that Professor Cook just showed us. And so it's fascinating because as an alum myself, I've seen a variation of the shades of green, but to see that green stick around for so long is really impressive. So, and I love the stripe down the leg. I think that's classic and iconic right there. So let's take a look at what's next. It's
so
this
the next one would have been this one, which is my immediate predecessor, Dr. Nick Williams. This was introduced, it was either 2002 or 2003. It was his first takeover of the band. And what's interesting is that you can see sort of the evolution of them, right? From not only the greens, but also the militaristic design influence. It's interesting to note that the name Green Brigade didn't come about until 1983. And it was actually some of the student officers, the student coordinators in the band that had proposed this name for adoption. So it's interesting because the idea of this militaristic genre, you have these epaulets up here that come off, and they're actually a breastplate that can go over top of this to create a bunch of different designs. And you'll have probably seen that more recently on our latest uniform that spanned the last 10 years or so. And so this is the introduction. We have the North Texas scripting itself that remains true. And we have this sort of blocky geometric design that takes us into 2019 when we started to retire these. This piece, it's funny, the pieces have gone missing over the years. We still do have pieces of this, but fans probably know how to breastplate that goes over top of this that could be used on one side, used on the other side, or not used at all, and have the more traditional North Texas with the geometric scripting underneath. So it's a very versatile uniform that you'll see we took elements of in the new one, which I don't think we're quite ready to get to yet, but soon enough. But this represents right here, I mean, between 1949 all the way through 2019, this is, my math, 70 years, 60 years, 70 years of history just between the ones we have here. And if you can imagine the flying worm generation right here as well.
I love that.
Yeah.
This is really fascinating. So explain to me, or tell me, enlighten our audience. How did we end up marching in this kind of uniform? What is the history behind this? Why? They're so hot, they're so heavy, and they're not comfortable sometimes. So why is this what we have grown up
this would be kind of an odd answer, but a lot of it has to do with the technology of fabrics over the years. And you know, you think of the more athletic fabric that we have today in your workout clothes or whatever, that just wasn't an option when the first styles of military band uniforms were being created. And so, I mean, I'm sure Nick could talk about this. These uniforms are heavy and hot because they're multi-layers of construction so that they live up to the test of time. It wasn't uncommon to have 7 layers of wool construction underneath these. Or it's funny because many athletic companies and uniforms have made the transition to polyester. But the irony here, if you have any polyester garments, is that polyester is actually not more breathable than wool is. If you have high quality wool that's only 1 or 2 layers thick, it's going to be more breathable than polyester is because polyester is an oil-based, it's plastic, essentially. It's woven plastic. So when you get uniforms like this that are layered polyester in wool with, you know, multi-layers of construction underneath so they stay sturdy over the test of time, I mean, they get hot. There's no doubt about it. So we're very pleased with the new uniforms that we have, some slick athletic material and lighter density wool. I keep looking, you can't see them, but I see them right there. It's funny, this is a funny little anecdote. We had one of our drum majors test the fabric, and we were all in the Murkison concert hall, and we were just chatting about these, and then he got dressed and we were gonna meet about on the field. I don't know if Matt Gayona is on here or not, I kind of hope he is. But for whatever reason, he didn't drive his car over, he ran from the Murkison to Apogee, which is not a short walk. It's like a mile to get, you know, across the land bridge. And so we said, Matt, what are you doing? First off, that you ran across the land bridge, why didn't you just drive? But this was back in, I guess, March or April, and he mentioned that it was actually quite light. He was wearing jeans and a long sleeve shirt underneath this uniform, but he wasn't sweating and he still breathed well. So we're very happy to leave this old technology of fabric behind.
Absolutely.
And to, you know, literally and figuratively get into the 21st century with design and fabric. So
absolutely,
it'll be great.
I love this. So I'm curious, we talked about the time period, but as far as designer influences, is there a specific designer that we can think or give a tip of the hat to for the designs that we have here that people might recognize?
Sure. Well, our uniforms I mean, they've been different companies for many years. Our latest generation of uniforms was Fruhoff, which is an excellent construction, excellent design. The uniform that we're going to now is made by Dumoulin Brothers and Company, which is another very fine uniform manufacturer. And we're very pleased with our partnership with them and the design that they've come up with for us over time.
Fantastic. Well, I love these. I would love to know from our audience, which of these iterations and design is your favorite, and what are your best memories if you marched in any of these uniforms? I know that it's been really a joy to see this latest version, and now to see what you're about to unveil in the next few minutes. I'm staring at them as well because they're phenomenal. I can't wait to show you guys. Sorry, I'm really excited. So let's take a break from just a second and let's bring Mr. Rico in here and chat with him about some of his memories, get to know Nick and what he means to the Green Brigade. So Nick, thank you for joining us, sir. We appreciate that. I understand and know that you're a former Green Brigade member. Are these memories just flooding you. Are you just excited? Are you crying? Are you sad? Are you happy? What are you feeling right now as you look at these?
When I see these, it reminds me of a lot of fun. It really was fun. That's what's different about being a member of, an alumnus of an organization like a marching band. I don't think there are too many freshman English alum associations or physics class alums, but there are a heck of a lot. There's a heck of a lot of band alums who still think fondly and about the times we had, because it's all about camaraderie and excitement. Halftime shows are a big spectacle. It's a big event. You work hard to prepare them. And when you pull them off without a hitch, you get a great amount of satisfaction and for being a part of it. When I was in the band and from 73 to 77, all 4 years, we had 128 people, I believe, in the band. And Daniel, how many now?
Oh my gosh. You're not going to believe this. It's off the charts. I believe as of right now, we have registered 470, 480, something like this. And our drumline, I mean, you know this, Nick, our drumline is very competitive. So they're going to have to audition for those spots. But I mean, I fully well believe that Green Brigade, again, is going to be over 400. And actually, between us here, if you're watching, please register. And you're a student, that is. Sorry, Nick, you can't register again. But you can come back, which we're going to talk about soon. But what I'm hoping for is that we get to 428 this year. Because if we get to 428, it will be the biggest Green Brigade in history after 2019, which was 427. So, I got to keep that going.
I like that you set the bar high and challenge yourself. That's phenomenal. So students, register. Don't let him down, please. We need you. We need you. I remember when you first came on here. I'm sorry, Nick, just a quick side note. I remember when you were hired here and you brought the band together and you said, no, I want this many students. We're going to have this large band. And I got really excited. I mean, just hearing the halftime performances, if you don't get chill bumps when you go to the games and watch our Green Brigade march, well, man, I can't even imagine. But to hear the number, we thought, this guy is crazy. This is crazy. But yet success after success and beautiful performances and shows. And so we love what you're doing with the program. And we applaud you and all of your students and the hard work that you put into this. So thank you.
Thank you. And kudos to the students for sure. They're the ones. It's funny because Casey says just a moment ago that it feels pretty hot in here wearing our fancy clothes and whatever. But I go, it's nothing compared to band camp when it's, 100 degrees, but kudos to them.
Absolutely. So Nick, speaking of band camp, was band camp the same as it is now? Has it changed over the years?
We were required to be on campus about a week before classes started. I'm not sure that's how you do it now, Daniel.
Yeah, that's pretty much the same.
Yeah, and it's hot. And
it is hot.
Our practice field was over now, what is now the parking lot near the Murkison Performance Center. And we were pretty much there all day. And but it was very intensive. That's how we practiced. Mostly sectionals in the morning. Then we got together after lunch to start putting together our first routine for the first game.
That's amazing. I don't know about you, Nick, but I was in the best shape of my life when I was in marching band. I look back on photos and I think, man, in my head, I thought, man, I'm not fit enough. I'm not physically healthy enough. And now I look back and go, man, I had it going on. I was tan and I was skinny.
Tan and skinny, that's right.
And I could run. Oh my gosh. So we all have great memories from marching band camp. So I just love to hear that. So let me ask you this. You play the trombone and with these uniforms, did you ever have a difficult time reaching that 7th position as you're fully extending the slide? How restricted was your movement in these uniforms?
Well, they were, you never got they weren't tailored. How's that? You got something that was approximately your size when they were handing them out, and bulky, heavy wool. I was fortunate, and I think most trombone players now, is we had an F attachment on our trombone, so we never had to use 7th position. We could push in the valve and play it in second position. So that was generally not an obstacle.
Oh, good, good. Breaking news. I need to interrupt for just a moment. Nick, I apologize for this back and forth here, but we do have a good question for
Sure.
Professor Cook here. And someone says their son is registered for Green Brigade. When will he start to hear from them? And
yeah. Well, to all the parents out there, when your students register on our site, they should have gotten a confirmation that tells them that they're registered. It also launches a 5-stage mailer that gives them information about the fall. So if they're not getting those, let me know so I can fix them in our system. They should have also gotten some information from me as recently as a couple of weeks ago about some generic Green Brigade things, but also about our Ireland trip, which is something we haven't even talked about at all. We've already got to, I think it's like 150 students or something like that registered to join us over spring break of next year to march in the Dublin St. Patrick's Day Parade, one of the biggest parades in the world.
exciting.
And I mean, maybe we shouldn't go into too much detail, but I imagine this. College student, spring break, trip tour to Ireland, performing at 3 different castles, culminating in the Dublin St. Patrick's Day Parade. I mean, it's once in a lifetime experience for
You
sure.
need chaperones, right?
You know, that's always the question. But I suppose to our parent there, I mean, feel free to reach out to me anytime. The best email to reach me there is greenbrigade@unt.edu. Happy to answer any questions from parents or prospective students about what to do. We've also got a pretty robust webpage with FAQs, anything that you could possibly want to know, and lots of social media. And so I believe pictures of our new uniform, as well as videos from our recording sessions and previous projects from the fall, because that's what we did in the fall. We did recording sessions in the fall because it was a different fall.
I love
All
it.
of that can be found on our website.
Thank you so much. I know there are many people out there probably wondering and questioning. So Nick, I'm going to take it back over to you for just a second. I'm curious to know, how did your experience in the Green Brigade over the 4 years, how did that impact your life professionally and personally over the next few decades?
You know, I think, and I'm not going to compare being marching band to being in the military because that's a greater commitment. You're not really risking your life in marching band, well, occasionally, but I'll tell you a quick story about that in a minute. The mere participation in an organized group of really, really talented musicians and people from everywhere, from every state and every country, it fostered a greater understanding of different people and cultures, and you had to work together because if you didn't, there would be a train wreck out on the field, and again, I keep harping on the teamwork. I took that with me into professional life. I was actually a band director for a year after I got out of graduate school, and I had to make a career choice at the time because I was starving to death. And you got to really dedicate yourself for a period of time to as a professional teacher. And I really admire the folks like Daniel and those and others of you on this podcast who have done so. But I've used my it becomes a part of your fabric, working together as a team, and that's the most important takeaway I had from participating.
I love that. I love that. And on a personal note, my son is entering into middle school and he got fitted for his instrument.
Yes, he did. Oh my gosh.
Talk about a small world, right?
That's
Turns
right.
out
Yeah, Casey texted me and it's one of my best friends that's fitting him for his instrument.
he's
So
going to be his
awesome.
band director,
Yeah.
and I'm so excited. But even though he struggled through school in some areas academically, I told my husband he needs this. The teamwork, the responsibility that comes out of this, and the life lessons that he's going to learn from being in a community like the band is going to be something that will stick with him all through life. And so, I just want to throw my 2 cents out there because I totally agree, Nick, and I think that's fantastic. So I'm curious. You touched a little bit on the camaraderie and the community and the culture within the marching band. What is that about? Is it just the amount of time that we spend together? Is it, the trials and the tribulations? But what is it about being in an organization like the Green Brigade that creates such a lasting, lifelong relationship?
It really is an intense experience. The fact that the person next to you is depending upon what you do,
Mhm.
how you play, where you stand, how you move, where you turn, and then consequently right down the line, eventually, in your case, 400 some odd people are totally integrated with a large, what would you call it? It's an entity in itself.
Mhm.
And
It's an organism. That's
but,
right.
but individually, you're extremely important to it. And then collectively, you're all important to it. And I think it's just that, you march in parades, you practice all day, all evening at certain times. You travel together to road games. You get together before the game. And believe it or not, we probably partied a little bit after the games, maybe.
No,
I don't know.
certainly
I
not.
don't- not
Certainly
us.
not.
Maybe.
My mother raised me better than that, Nick.
And these are the folks that you chose to hang out with.
Mhm.
That's where it comes from. That's the unifying element of these people you choose to be with, and you learn about each other and become very close friends. I still have dozens of friends I stay in touch with because of my relationships with them, mostly in marching band, but also in the university at large. But it's mostly us band geeks. We still remember each other and stay in touch, principally through Facebook. And I think that ultimately, Daniel, your vision is for us to be able to stay in touch
That's right.
through the Green Brigade.
That's right. That's exactly right. Mhm.
All right, Nick, are you ready for a round of rapid fire questions?
Okay.
Here we
quick-
go.
Quick answers.
Did you ever forget a piece of your uniform?
Yes,
What was the consequence?
I stole one from someone
Deferred
else.
consequence.
There we go. Okay. All right.
All right. What was your most memorable show?
It was probably this one, and I'll share the screen with you.
Yay.
Let me get to that picture.
Oh, I know what you're going to pull up.
Yeah,
Oh, I know this.
All right, you know what I'm going to show. Hold on.
Yep. Yep.
Let me see if I can find it. This one right here.
Is that snow? Are you standing in snow?
This is Homecoming 1976. It got snowed out. It was the biggest snowstorm in memory. The halftime show was canceled. UNT was playing Florida State University. Bobby Bowden, it was his first year as coach.
Absolutely.
They had to mark the sidelines with orange traffic cones. And that's pretty much how they marked the field. They called off the band halftime because it was probably dangerous. And the four of us, of course, said, no, there's no way we're going to cancel the show. So we just stepped right out on the field, marched onto the field. There were probably 3,000 people or so in the stands, and you never heard a louder roar from the stands than when we marched out on the field playing the fight song. It was incredible. And so we went out, we played the fight song, we played the alma mater again. We turned pinwheels in the middle of the field playing Christmas carols. And everybody just loved it. And it actually, this picture got on the national wire. And my cousins in New York says, Cousin Nikki, is that you on the playing in the snow? So this is my most memorable one.
That is so fun. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. Do you remember the most challenging formation?
I think it was we formed almost a single line all the way from end zone to end zone to do a high kick routine.
Sure. That's hard.
I'm sorry, you did a high kick routine? Or
yeah, like a drill team would do in a high school drill team. And we did a high kick routine at end zone to end zone, one line, and try to keep that one straight.
So Nick, I'm counting on you on this November, which I think we're going to look at the uniforms and we're going to talk about that.
Yes.
This November, you're going to come back and we're going to make you do a kick line routine with you and all your alumni buddies.
All right.
Start stretching now. Okay. So Nick, one last question for you, because I know we've got a lot to cover and we're already like getting close on time.
I know. We
This is
gotta
crazy.
look at
This is
these
crazy.
guys.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. Which one should I choose? All right. You know what? After graduation, who or what inspired you to stay connected with the Green Brigade
nice.
and stay involved?
I think it was each other. those of us became close as band members, we stayed in touch, and and that faded after a while. Soon after graduation, we all talked to each other on landlines. We didn't have cell phones, and we didn't have email, so we called and talked to each other and corresponded. So it was each other. That's how we stayed engaged.
Accountable, and I love it. That's fantastic. Okay, well, I think the time has come, and the time is right.
I think we should do it
for us to unveil.
I think, so we've prepared a cool video for you first, and then I'll talk you through the design. So I think, shall we do it? Are we ready? This has been years in the making, literally. So here we go. This is our new uniforms next year.
Yay.
In the comments. That's awesome.
You have no idea. You should see these in person. They are super sweet. Okay, are we ready?
Let's look at them. Let's look at them.
I'll take the lead there.
All right. Well, I guess we're going to pan the camera over to our models right here. Oh my gosh, this looks so good. To the new generation of the Green Brigade. Doesn't this look slick, Nick? Don't you love this? So why don't take a gander at them first, and then I'll sort of talk you through all the components here. So of course, on this side is the band member uniform, the traditional band uniform. And then over here is what the drum major iteration will look like. It's the same design with the inverted color scheme here. And so I'll go back to our individual over here with the band member. And of course, you'll see on the front, the diving eagle that UNT has embraced as its branding going into the 21st century. We love that there's this silver piping and this white that comes across the jacket. What we noticed with the old uniforms is that night games, particularly across the field, the band looked smaller because we had so much green that blended in with the field. So we wanted to make sure that there was nice pops of silver and white that made us look, massive on the field. And we are massive at, 400 plus members. Over here, I don't know if you can see it on this one, but there's the university seal up on the sleeve right here. Maybe you can see it a little bit better on the drum major one here. You can see the seal. And then over here, we've got the script block North Texas here. We've got the traditional shoulder wings, they're called over here, that roll out. And I think aficionados of North Texas are really going to appreciate, I don't know if you can see here on the gauntlet. Actually, I can take them off because they're removable. So why don't I kind of bring these up to you here. You'll see the 125th anniversary tartan stitching branded into the gauntlets. So if you didn't know they were there, you might not notice, but when you do notice that they're there, it's a nice piece of history that is on the uniform celebrating UNT's 125th a few years ago, back in, I think it was 2015, right? It would have been 1890.
Yeah.
So you'll probably also notice we've got this drop cape right here. This is all the rage in marching bands nowadays. But if we're looking for a more traditional look, it comes off. So we don't have to, right? Daniel Suda over here.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm impressed.
Exactly. And so you'll see on the Shako, and this person's head is turned to the side, but you'll see on the Shako here, we've got the continuation of the line here up into the Shako with the traditional plume. Some interesting things about this are, this is also removable to feature underneath the traditional UNT. So if we're interested in a more traditional look, we can go with this right here. You'll also notice that I have a white plume on this one and a black plume on the drum major. We also have green plumes and pink plumes. For breast cancer awareness in October, we're able to match, cheer and dance and do a little pop of pink too. So in addition, not only that, we have these little feathers. This one doesn't have any inside of it right here that can go in here. So it's a very versatile uniform with lots of different looks. And the drum major uniform features all of those same features with the Shako wrap coming off and the gauntlets coming off and this coming off. So So it's a really cool look. We're really proud of it. We were able to purchase 557 of these with, I know, right? With the generous support of the Westheimer Foundation. So we're very grateful to them for making this possible. And we're just delighted. We think these look super slick, and we hope they'll last us probably 5 to 7 years before they need to be retired because they get a little nasty. I know we said we kept the North Texas State one for 26 years. We really don't want to do that again, but we're really happy that these will herald us for the next few years into our new look, as well as some of the new initiatives that we're doing. The first game of the season, we hope to have a high school band day. We've already got 785 high schoolers signed up for that.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And also I think we're going to talk about some of the things that we'll do later in the season with the alumni too, right? Because we're building this alumni network.
Yes, absolutely.
So
these are slick.
thank you. I'm glad you like it.
Oh my gosh, this is so, wow. I don't even know where to begin. Just the versatility and how sleek it is and how much thought was put into every single piece of the design, the details, the
tartan, right? I love the tartan.
I love it.
It's cool.
I love it. This is phenomenal. So this is new to me. I had never seen this before, and I've been out of the scene for quite some time. So why is this all the rage right now? And what is this piece called
That's
again?
a great question. So this is called a drop. It's
Okay.
just as simple as that. And this started to be introduced into the marching arts maybe 10 or 15 years ago now. And what's cool is that it creates like a nice wave effect as people are marching. And I don't know, it's just another aesthetic piece. I don't know if I could tell you exactly why it became the rage, except that it did become the rage about 15 years ago.
It's sharp. So I'm guessing you probably are not supposed to use this to clean your mouthpiece on.
That is
or
correct,
anything.
right? That is correct. We should not be doing that.
Should not be doing that. If you do, you know, backside maybe. I
Yeah.
don't know. This is phenomenal, and I love the wings. The wings, just the symbolism and
Yeah.
everything, right? Oh man, this is sharp.
I should mention that this little collar piece right here, I don't know if you can flip back to these collars. For long periods of time, marching band jackets had this clasp right here that came kind of like a button-down shirt. This is a totally new design. This is made proprietary for us, and right, it doesn't come off. It stitches like a lot of marching band jackets. They stitch along the back, but this whole collar piece lets members frankly just have a little bit more neck room. I mean, I don't know. Daniel Suda wore a marching band uniform. Sometimes it gets really uncomfortable right here by the collar. And so to have that extra space and that extra breathability right here is a nice feature too. Brand new for us, this particular facet. So.
This is phenomenal, and I am so excited for our students. I cannot wait to see them on the
It's gonna be
field.
great.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Oh, so I tell you what, I'm going to check my phone and see if we have any questions or comments from the audience. And I think we also wanted to talk a little bit. I'm going to jump around here.
Come back to our
Yeah.
spots here. That's right. Okay.
All right. When will these debut? Which game? Will we see these at the very first football game?
I believe we'll see them at the very first game. I believe so. They're significantly lighter weight than the other ones.
That's so
the
exciting.
thing. Like I was telling that story about Matt Gaona here. We know that the first game is usually very hot, which is why we've done the slacks and the polo in recent years.
Right.
But these are much more breathable. So we're hoping that we can debut those at the first game. I think it would be a really good look to debut them at the first game. Too.
Absolutely. And fresh out of a pandemic.
That's right.
and
I know. We're itching to wear them. I mean, we've had these. They've been in the closet for a year now. You know, we've had them.
Wow.
So we were hoping for them for the last season, but it's going to be great now to have them for this season. I should mention too, go ahead and, if you go on our website, you'll see the Green Brigade Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We'll be putting up videos and pictures of these. I believe over the course of the next few days, we'll put up that video tomorrow that you can like and share and such. And then we'll put up pictures of each of the close-ups and with band members in action too from that photo shoot we did. So like our social media for information there.
Absolutely. Great question from another viewer here is, do these get cleaned throughout the year, Professor Cook, or are they, standing up stiff on their own by the end of the season?
Yeah.
How do they clean these? How do they take care of these?
That's a great question. These will have to be dry cleaned. So they take some special care there. The members check them out over the course of the season. They don't check them out and in every game. It would be a logistical nightmare to do that for 400 and something uniforms. So the members are going to be able to feel free to dry clean them themselves throughout the season as they so desire, but we will have to have them all get dry cleaned at the end of the year. Because it does get a little rank in the uniform room there by that point in time. Yeah.
Yes, it does. Absolutely. So this is Alumni Live. We've got to talk about our Green Brigade alumni. And so Nick, I'm looking at you. You can't see me really looking at you because I'm looking off the camera here at you on a monitor. But Nick, you have been pun intended, an instrumental part of getting our Green Brigade alumni together the last few years. And I understand that you are spearheading a wonderful project and working closely with Professor Cook to keep our Green Brigade alumni together. So would you like to tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah, it harkens back to trying to do something in an organized fashion for our alums. Daniel has come from other universities where the alumni organizations were huge and were really engaged with the university, and you would get hundreds of participants to come to homecoming. We tried to do that in 1987, and we worked really hard. We got about 40 people that came, and then we tried again in 2007. Let's see.
Oh yeah, the reunion trip from 2007.
Look at that. Uh-oh, did he freeze?
I think we lost him there for a minute. I hope he comes back.
Oh no.
There we go. We're back.
We worked really hard and we got 40 or 50 people to come. And then we tried again 2000. I think maybe 70, 75 people to come. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't for lack of trying. We don't think it needs to happen every 10 or 20 years. We think that Daniel wants to do this for you, the alums. Not for the university. He wants to do it for you because I remember how much fun it was, and you remember how much fun it was. And Daniel and the university are going to try everything they can. I'm going to try to do everything I can to make this an annual event, and even more so than an annual event. Because Daniel, again, y'all are going to Ireland.
That's right.
And there's a way for alums to attend and go with you.
Actually, so yeah, if it's okay, let me jump in, Nick, and say two things on that one. Alumni watching. Every fall, we want to do an alumni band reunion. Every fall, just like many of the major SEC institutions do. I grew up in the SEC, that's why I referenced it. But every fall, we want to have a blowout band alumni reunion, alumni band association. So be on the lookout for the invitation for that for this fall. COVID willing, right? We have to put the disclaimer that, hopefully everybody takes care of themselves and stays healthy and does everything they can to protect themselves. But we'd love to see you this fall. And so as soon as we're able to officially publicize that, I think we're going to, but we want to do it. So look out, alums, every fall. We want to have you back for Green Brigade Alumni Day. And as Nick mentioned, we do have a friends and family package for our Ireland trip. Ooh. So it's convenient for alumni and parents because it links up with the Green Brigade at performance events and then otherwise does separate, tours of Ireland. So just head to the Green Brigade website, click on Ireland's trip page, and you'll see at the bottom of registration a little thing that says Friends and Family Package. So I don't think I can say mark your calendars yet. I don't think I'm quite allowed to say that. But look out in the fall, late fall, for a big game to have all the alumni back. And we'll have registration information soon on there.
I'm so excited. And man, check out the Ireland trip. Start planning now, budget for that. Let's go support our students and be there to cheer them on and let them know how proud we are of them and all of their successes and accomplishments. Okay, so we've talked about the reunion a little bit. We talked about where alumni can go to get more information on the Green Brigade and all the things that are happening. We just saw some beautiful new uniforms. I still cannot believe this. This is phenomenal. I think that we cannot end this without saying a tremendous thank you to the Jerome Westheimer Family Foundation and Corporation and alumnus Brezzy Westheimer for all that you have done to make these uniforms possible and to give us a competitive edge and even recruiting our students with these beautiful new uniforms. So Thank you. Alumni, you are just making all the difference and such a tremendous impact in our students' lives. And we appreciate that. And we hope that that continues. And we hope that our students that are going through the program now will continue to stay involved and engaged over the next many decades of, yes, forever. Until the end, right?
Right.
And I'm just so excited about all the things that are to come for you guys. This is truly phenomenal. Have we forgotten anything, Daniel?
I don't think so. That's not a trick, is it? Right?
Are there any other questions?
I think we've covered it.
Oh, I do have a question. I'm being told. Please hold. Oh, here we go. Hold up. Shakos for sousaphone players. I was a sousaphone player, so point. Great question. Yeah. Yes.
Right. No, well, so the Shakos are so tall that they would bump into the piping of the sousaphone. So sousaphones, whenever this happens, two things happen. Either we get low-brimmed Shakos or berets. And I know our current sousaphone players, I think they're fans of the berets. So we haven't committed to either of those actually yet. So the sousaphones that are really into it, I guess, shoot me a message if you want a low-brimmed Shako or a beret. I think I'd be leaning toward the beret.
I loved my beret. Yeah. I look great in my beret, on and off the field.
Right.
Are you kidding? Maybe we should put a poll out for people to vote, right? Let's get their opinion, see what they think. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Professor Cook. This has truly been a treat. Nick, thank you for joining us and sharing your memories. This is so special. And again, a huge thank you to our supporters, our donors, and our alumni for continuing to stay involved and engaged in taking care of our students. Claudia, I'd like to turn it back over to you at this time.
Yes, thank you all so much for being here today. And of course, a huge shout out to our coworker and cameraman, Daniel Suda, and our student worker, Samantha, for filming for us today. Thank you, guys. Now is your last chance to check out the chat function here in Zoom for a link to this week's survey. You don't want to miss out on that UNT prize pack. For our next episode on June 10th, we get to see how the frozen custard gets made. We'll be hanging out with UNT alums John Woolley and Brett Allen, the founders of Fort Worth's famous Woolley's Frozen Custard, to get a sneak peek at their most popular treats and learn about their journey from UNT students to successful business owners. And we'll have some live giveaways, so you definitely don't want to miss it. To register, just check out the chat function now or go to our website, untalumni.com/alumni live to register. One last shout out, now is a great time to show your mean green pride by becoming a member of the UNT Alumni Association. Your membership dues go directly to scholarship support and for our amazing students and awesome programming for our alums. To learn more, just go to untalumni.com/join. We hope we'll see you on June 10th. Go Mean Green.